Vivi and Rebecca, as well as Shirahoshi and Mansherry, debuted on OPTC Global on the 21st of December 2019. The final batch of the year provided the players with some new characters from the Reverie arc in One Piece, with some great utility-focused effects. Characters that debuted in this batch included Any Age, Any Time Jewelry Bonnie, the World Council Princess of Dressrosa Viola, Weeping Guard Navy HQ Captain Kobe, and one of the SugoFest exclusive characters of the batch introduced the powerful ability to remove any particular debuff applied to the crew, great for any team moving forward. Introducing Wonderful Meeting Shirahoshi and Mansherry. The other SugoFest exclusive character of the batch introduced one of the best switch effects in the game, consistently gaining a chainlock every turn, along with a special that removed various turns of enemy defensive effects. Introducing Shared Benefactor Vivi and Rebecca. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older SugoFest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. Thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and this week we're going to be covering it 2 legends in one episode, kind of similar to what we did with V2 Mihawk and V2 Zoro, just smashing them up together just to make it so that we can progress through this series a bit easier. And this episode is going to be covering Vivi Rebecca and Shira Mansherry. These units are amazing, were amazing on release, and still see some niche usages in today's day and age. But these units are really good, excited to show you guys what they're all about. Let's start off with the rare recruits first though. We've got Jewelry Bonnie here. This character really wasn't that good. So she's a quick free spirit fighter, so she doesn't really fit that well with the rest of the batch. But then you've got her crewmate ability makes recovery slots beneficial to free spirit cerebral, which is okay. And then her special reduces bind by 7 turns on 3 selected characters, and then boost the orbs of only your bottom row characters by 2.25 for 2 turns. So with some slight tweaks, this actually could be a very good rare recruit. If this was a rainbow, like 2 times orb boost just to all characters, and just, you know, lowered the multiply but made it for all characters, and then just removed bind by 5 turns on all characters, I feel like this character would actually have seen plenty of usage, but the character just doesn't do a whole lot. Very niche scenarios, I suppose. It's just not that good. The one thing that is kind of nice is her support attaching to any Kuma and removing 5 turns of bind anytime you're inflicted with it. Now that is very good, so you do have to give her some credit, but unfortunately not a great rare recruit overall. The next rare recruit is Viola, who is actually very good for this particular batch. So she is an int cerebral slasher, and she does reduce all paralysis by 1 for the whole crew. That's really strong. And then her special changes orb of herself and adjacent slots into matching, and if you have above 50% health when you launch the special, then you get a 2 times attack boost to cerebral for 1 turn. Otherwise it's a 1.75 times boost. But still very good, because when you take a look at the fact that her potential ability, she has double special launch. So you can actually use it twice for multiple different stages, not only to get an attack boost, but to get more matching slots. So for that reason, she was very good. It was unfortunate though, because on release, the double special launch tablets either didn't exist or were very hard to get. So there weren't too many people that had this character rainbowed, unless if of course they pulled plenty of duplicates. So yeah, on release was good if you had it all set and ready to go, but due to the fact that Sabo Koala had released just prior to this, you know, if you were going to have an attack boost on your cerebral team, more often than not you would use Sabo and Koala, unless if you needed multiple different turns. And then finally, the last rare recruit is going to be Kobe, who is a strength cerebral fighter, and his crewmate ability does make strength slots beneficial to cerebral, which is actually pretty good, and also reduces 10 turns of blindness, not terrible. And then a special that will reduce paralysis and despair by 5, recover 9 times his recovery in HP at the end of the turn for 3 turns, and then if HP is 50% or above when you launch the special, you reduce dex and quick damage completely for 1 turn to 0. So it's a damage nullification against quick and dex characters specifically. So again, a little bit niche for this effect, and damage nullification isn't always the most useful thing to have, but more often than not, you were using him just to remove a bunch of despair and paralysis, which was never really awful, I would say. I don't think he had anything super useful in his potential abilities, really, so he was basically a despair and paralysis remover. Not really too much to talk about with Kobe. But now we can start talking about the Sugo Fest exclusives. We have Shirahoshi Mansherry first, and this is a very, very interesting unit. So Shirahoshi was Cerebral Striker and was Int. Then you had Mansherry, who was Cerebral Free Spirit and was Psi, and combined to Cerebral Striker. So I don't really like the fact that a lot of these dual units back in the day had very obscure classes. Sometimes it wouldn't really work depending on the team comp that you were trying to build for, but still, pretty decent type and class combinations. And then you had the captain abilities of these units, which really wasn't the best. So you had Shirahoshi, which would provide a 3x attack boost to Striker, Cerebral, and Free Spirit. Remember that back in the day here, around this time period, you had like Sabu Koala, who could, you know, in their solo form, be around a 3.25 to 3.5 multiplier. So this was definitely a lot lower of a multiplier, but provided you with a lot of boosts in terms of recovery, lots of healing. And then you see boost the attack of this own character by 1.2. So it only gave Shirahoshi herself a 1.2 boost, but everyone else got a 3x attack boost. So it's a very, very interesting effect. I know that the first legend Shirahoshi was also the same, lower attack boost for herself, bigger attack boost to everyone else. But then you had Mansherry, who would just give you a flat out 2.75x attack boost to all characters that were Striker, Cerebral, or Free Spirit, as well as providing end of turn heal. Their combined form at least would provide a 3.5x boost to all characters that were Striker, Cerebral, Free Spirit, so no minor attack boost, and then also give you recovery at the end of each turn. And then it says that if you have above 50% health, you cannot die from a single hit. So it gives you like a zombie style captain ability here. Not a great captain, but we'll be showcasing that in today's video. Then we've got the crewmate abilities. Reducing 7 turns of special bind on herself is very good, and then some statistical increases. But then the switch ability of this unit was also very strong, which would reduce slot bind and special bind by 1 turn, and that's for the whole crew, and then changes the orb of this character into rainbow, and changes any other matching slot on your crew also into rainbow, which went perfectly well with her special, changing all slots including block into matching, recover 100 times her recovery in HP, and reduce 2 selected debuffs by 10 turns, and then they only combine into their dual unit for 1 turn. So very interesting style special here, but still, reducing 2 debuffs by 10 turns, incredibly valuable. Now, it would only work for certain debuffs, like if it was a debuff inflicted onto a singular character, like a bind or paralysis, special bind, it does not remove that. But if it is a buff inflicted to the whole crew, such as an attack down or normal attacks only, this special would enable you to remove that by 10 turns for any 2 specific debuffs, as well as providing the full board of slots. You can't disregard that. So being able to have multiple Shirahoshi Mansherrys, or being able to guarantee matching slots in other ways, switch with this character, change them all to rainbow, lock them, and just have these rainbow slots that could not be changed by the enemy, was very, very valuable to have. And basically, even in teams where this character wasn't boosted, even in teams that were not focused around Cerebral Striker or Free Spirit, this character was still used because of how valuable this special was. And finally, we've got Vivi Rebecca, another very powerful character that was at the top of my tier list for quite a long time. Not the very top, I will say, but definitely near the top for quite a long time. This unit was very good. So, very similar with the Cerebral class for all versions of the unit. Vivi was Free Spirit, but Rebecca was a Striker unit, and then they combined for Striker, which was good. Vivi was Dex, and then Rebecca was a Strength unit. This unit had a very interesting captain ability, so the Vivi captain, 1.75 times attack, so not that great. 1.2 health, 1.75 color affinity, always activated, and also makes psi slots beneficial with a 20% damage reduction. And then you have the Rebecca, which gave you more color affinity with no damage reduction and making int slots beneficial. So, and then you've got the dual captain, again, only 1.75 times attack, but gave you 2.5 times color affinity. 20% damage reduction, Psi-Int are beneficial. So you may think this is a very strange captain, but the way you have to look at it is like, yes, you do get a 1.75 times attack boost, but if you attack with type advantage, then you would get a 2.5 boost. So it ends up being a 4.375 times captain if you're attacking with type advantage. So if you can plan your team out correctly, use it in the right scenarios, this can be a good captain. but more often than not was mainly used as a crewmate. So we move on. It makes quick slots beneficial to Striker Cerebral, which wasn't bad. And then the switch effect was so insane. Like, this was one of the main reasons why this character was so good for so long. Strength and Dex slots on Striker Cerebral were changed into matching. 2000 HP recovered at the end of the turn for 1 turn. And locks the chain multiplier at 2.5 for 1 turn. So getting a 2.5 chain lock every single turn was very good, right? Very, very good effect. And also, back in the day, you couldn't just clear content ultra fast. There were ways to do it, but depending on the content you were coming up against, there were a lot of difficult pieces of content. And having healing effects that you can activate every single turn added value to the unit. So being able to provide 2000 healing on top of 1000 auto healing, 3000 heal per turn, was very strong back in the day. So yeah, this character was fantastic, mainly just due to this. But then it even adds to it with the special. Removes increased defense and Rainbow Shield completely on the enemy. So blue and Rainbow Shield completely gone. 99 turns of it removed. Very good. Then boosting the color affinity of Striker Cerebral by 2 times for 2 turns, and they combine into the dual unit for 3 turns. So yeah, this is what I'm saying, like, the Striker Cerebral teams get a massive bonus by using the character such as this, but even if you're not using a Striker or Cerebral team, being able to remove Blue and Rainbow Shield completely was definitely useful. There were lots of content that was out that you could just use this special to remove those really annoying gimmicks and get through it, especially with this special on top of this swap during the same turn. Just immensely powerful special. So Vivi Rebecca and Shirahoshi Mansherry, really excited to show you guys what these units were capable of back in the day. Today we're going to take on the Colosseum Jinbei, which was the Colosseum that debuted alongside Vivi Rebecca and Shirahoshi Mansherry. So I'm very, very excited to show you guys this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we're in-game here with Shirahoshi Mansherry and Vivi Rebecca, and we're using a lot of the characters that debuted alongside them with Viola as well as Kobe. We're going to be taking on Colosseum Jinbei, which is the debut Colosseum for Shirahoshi and Mansherry, and it was basically like this Colosseum was sort of built for it in a way, as Shirahoshi and Mansherry's special was so good on that final stage, and we'll talk more about it once we get there. But we are running a mono cerebral team, so we're going to be using the Zunisha ship, which is going to partner up very well with the rest of the squad. I'm really excited to actually show you guys what Shirahoshi Mansherry and Vivi Rebecca were capable of doing, and yeah, they're really fun units to use, but they're not the fastest units to use, because you can see here, look at these cooldowns, absurdly high cooldowns. However, there is one thing that's kind of interesting, is that we actually are going to be doing quite a bit of, I guess, stall on stage 3, so we actually probably don't really need to do that much stall heading into, you know, later stages and stuff. So, you know, the really cool thing about Shirahoshi and Mansherry is that they were basically good in every team, being able to give you a full board of slots through block slots, really good healing components. Actually, we'll focus here a little bit, but the fact that they could give you so many positive buffs and they could work in a lot of different teams, and the same thing was for Vivi and Rebecca. The switchability of this character to give matching slots, heal 2000 additional HP at the end of the turn, and a 2.5 chain lock was just nuts. Even on teams where they weren't boosted, getting a chain lock every single turn of 2.5 was very good. So, you know, it's very valuable that you could have this on your account, just enabling you to just do a lot of extra damage each turn without having to worry about it. And then, of course, having a very powerful special that can remove enemy defensive effects. Now, the removal of defensive effects isn't really what we're going to be showcasing in this video with Vivi and Rebecca in particular, but the fact that their chain lock is available every turn is going to be a big highlight for this team. And wow, we get Heracles. Okay, well, that actually does speed up the process here, that's for sure. That's actually completely fine with me. I'm actually not that mad about that. So let's see what we get here with Battle 4, because Battle 4 actually has 2 different variations where Aladdin can actually change color. So he can be either a quick unit or he can be a dex unit, and that's really going to determine what we do with Vivi and Rebecca here. So he's going to become a quick unit. So normally if he would turn into a dex unit, we would switch into Rebecca to get that positive effect there. That's not that big of a deal. I think we can actually still get through this. So that was really surprising, and it doesn't happen often. I think that may have only happened 1 or 2 other times in the entire Legends of OPTC series, encountering Heracles on a Colosseum. Very rare for that to happen. Alright, so first thing is first, this is why we have Kobe. Kobe, one of the debut units alongside here, being able to provide us with damage nullification versus Dex and Quick, which is perfect for this stage, but also helping us remove the paralysis that's inflicted here from Praline and Aladdin, so that's going to be awesome to have. Next, let's see here. Let's actually go ahead and use the special ability of Neptune, and this is a really good unit because Neptune's going to have type advantage on the final stage, giving us an orb boost for this stage, removing enemy resilience, which is on Aladdin, so we can remove that. We can actually kill him this turn, and we need to worry about using the Viola special as well. So Viola, really nice unit in this batch with double special activation too, and those tablets were really rare back when this character first came out, so not too many people had the capabilities of actually using this character special twice, but still really nice to have. Let's go ahead and switch Shirahoshi Mansherry, and normally I would be using their special to guarantee the slots here, so we'll just go ahead and use the special because this is normally what I would do in this stage. That's what I was planning to do anyway, because we're not guaranteed to have slots when we enter this stage. Luckily, we had Ericv to give us those. So not only by doing that, we get like guaranteed matching slots and being able to remove debuffs and stuff, but the other really good thing is of course, when you're in your dual form captain, you get the buffed captain ability. Now, it is important that we have our captain set aside so that we can switch into the int variation when we move into the next stage. And luckily as well, Shirahoshi Mansherry, they actually combine for one turn, which isn't really the best for a lot of cases, but with the way that they kind of work, that's actually not a terrible thing to have. So at this point here, we can just go ahead and attack and then kill Praline with Kobe, and then hopefully have enough damage for Vivi to knock out Aladdin. So let's go ahead and do some damage and hopefully move on to the final stage. Let's get it. Beautiful. That worked exactly how we wanted it to be. That was enough damage there from Vivi, and you'll see here that the enemy does give us bad slots, but again, Shirahoshi and Mansherry can kind of deal with it anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Another thing as well is that if you actually don't kill Praline Aladdin, they actually do quite a lot of damage to you, which is where Kobe's damage nullification comes in very clutch once again. So here we have Jinbei, and the really annoying thing about Jinbei is that he actually has like multiple different variations that can appear. So in this variation, he's going to give us chain down and normal attacks only. There's another one that can give you like a bunch of attack down. There's ones that make type slots badly matching, and that's all really annoying to deal with, having to deal with all of these different gimmicks. But of course, with Shirahoshi and Mansherry, they remove 10 turns of any 2 debuffs, which is awesome, of course. And then of course, with the ability of rainbow slots, you don't have to worry about your type slots being badly matching. So that's what I'm saying, like Shirahoshi Mansherry were basically built for this content in mind. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the job done. We still have the orb boost from Neptune, which is going to be very valuable. Switch over to the int Shirahoshi because we want to have type advantage, of course, against the Jinbei. And we can switch our friend captain as well that we have so that we can make the matching slots that Shirahoshi Mansherry gives to us into rainbow slots, which is going to help out a lot. Lovely cure. Get those matching slots, get the bunch of heals, of course. Then we can remove the normal attacks only and the chain reduction. The chain reduction really didn't matter considering we do have Vivi and Rebecca, so not really a big deal anyway. Let's go ahead and get another attack boost here from Viola thanks to her double special launch. We'll be able to get that attack boost for stage 4 and also for stage 5, so it's very, very useful. And then we can switch over to Rebecca to get a 2.5 times chain lock, and then use her special, which will give us a color affinity boost. And yeah, as I said, you know, Vivi Rebecca and Shirahoshi Mansherry, these two units just saw so much play on so many different teams just because of how usable their specials were in a lot of situations. So really cool special there from Vivi and Rebecca, providing us with the ability to get a 2 times color affinity boost to Striker and Cerebral, but also being able to remove all turns of Rainbow Shield and Blue Shield. Very, very good. So now, we will hopefully do enough damage to kill Jinbei with the 2 times attack boost, the 1.75 orb boost. We have a healing effect, we have a 2.5 chain lock, and then the 2 times color affinity. Alright, here we go, let's get it done. More than enough damage to take out Jinbei, and still had 1 character to attack with. So that is awesome, and it's actually kind of crazy. These 2 units don't even have super evolutions yet, so it just gets the mind boggling with, you know, how crazy these units are when they came out, and they're still pretty useful, you know, today, in today's day and age, but with a super evolution as well, I'm very excited to see what they have in store for these units. So with all of that, that will wrap up yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and looking forward into next week's episode, we have an absolute doozy. This is going to be a big episode with the introduction of Douglas Bullet. When released, was one of the best legends in the game. Very, very much looking forward to next week. That unit is a boss, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to that one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video though, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.